I don't think they're going to go down enough to be like meaningful for those people that are sitting on a 2 to 3.5% interest rate.
If you've got a juicy prenup and you don't want the whole world able to go on the Register of Deeds and see what is in that juicy prenup, ask your attorney who drafted it to prepare a memorandum. We got married after you bought our first house. Mm-hmm. You never put me on the deed. Yeah, I didn't know this because I wasn't a lawyer, hadn't even...
Nice. I could have ran away with that $50,000 house.
Thanks for having me on your podcast today.
This is your podcast.
It's your podcast.
It's the real estate show, and I am not the real estate person.
You might not be a real estate lawyer, but I feel like you're a real estate person at this point.
I like real estate.
I know.
We've only moved a few times. I'll tell you right now, if someone offered me a whole bunch of money, I'd move right now. I'd move again. They want to buy our house and pay me a bunch, I'm moving.
Guess what? I'd also have to agree to sell. No.
What?
We gotta...
I like our house. But if someone came by and said, I got cold, hard cash for a lot of money.
Can we, cold, hard cash doesn't matter because whether you get a loan or it's cash, you're getting the same amount of money.
I know. I do laugh about that because...
it's a cash offer. Well, I mean, if they're still taking 30 days to close, a lender can close in 30 days too. And you get the same money, whether it's loan or cash.
It's the same thing when I sell stuff on the Facebook Marketplace. They'll be like, I'll offer you $160 cash. I'm like, well, I'm going to get my money no matter what. So I don't care if it's cash or Venmo or Zelle or it's I get the money the same time no matter what.
Cash is not necessarily king anymore.
Or queen.
But the thing is, like, Zelle, cash equivalent.
Yeah, but like, people love to say it's cash.
It just means you're not getting a loan.
I actually don't like cash. I don't know what to do with it.
You don't have a wallet that can
I can put one $100 bill in there. That's all I keep. So if you're trying to get anything from me, you're going to get $100.
Yep.
Or if I've used it, then it's $0.
$0.
But
giving it to me.
What I do want to start, maybe this is my 2024 plan. I do want to start Weber Bucks.
Okay, this very rarely do I hear an idea of yours for the first time in public.
Yeah. Weber Bucks.
Tell me more.
People get Weber Bucks for doing good things.
And what do they cash it in for?
Weber gifts.
Like...
I don't know.
Words of praise from you, which you're extremely withholding of.
Well, that's a good gift.
What if people don't care about words of praise? What if they just want bucks?
Weber bucks don't equate to U.S. bucks.
Clearly. Okay, I think this one needs some refining, but I'm not gonna like.
It doesn't need refining. If you walked around and you could exchange Weber bucks, and like let's say this beautiful mug that you have that I don't have. But I walked up to you and was like, hey, Tiff, I've got 500 Weber bucks. Could I have that mug? You'd probably be like, you know what? Yeah, I want these Weber bucks.
To do what with, though?
Exchange with other people.
Great idea, Ryan.
Thank you. I'm going to start offering Weber bucks.
The people who are listening.
It's for motivation.
On audio only. I hope you picked up the sarcasm in that.
I'm not being sarcastic.
I know you're
doing
not.
Weber bucks.
After 14, 15 years of this, I know that you're not being sarcastic at all.
I mean, think about your paralegals. If I walked over and said, hey, you did a good job, and I gave them 5 Weber bucks.
I'd have a mutiny.
No, your people would be so excited.
And no, they wouldn't.
They'd collect their Weber bucks.
They just want you to be nice to them.
Maybe they can exchange some Weber bucks for you one day of niceness. See? Weber bucks.
I don't know that they care that much.
I would.
What would you use your Weber bucks on?
I don't have anything I need right now. Maybe for them to be nice to me. What if I gave them all $20, 20 Weber bucks to be
I thought there's not a US dollar equivalent.
There's not it's, Weber buck dollars.
I dare you to print off some Weber bucks.
This isn't much of a dare.
And start using them in the office and just see.
2024.
Okay, we do have insurance, so if you get injured, at least we're covered. But you might get injured.
I'm the treasury.
All right, I can't wait to see how this plays out. By the way, welcome everybody to the Real Estate Show.
What a monologue.
What are we talking about today, Ryan Weber?
Prenups, estates, and probates.
Probates.
Mm-hmm.
I think probates are fraternity people that are becoming full-fledged members. We are not talking about probates today, but we are talking about probate.
Nice. Now, we did get these topics from Tiff, went and did a seminar at one of the local real estate companies during their team meeting. So if you would like a seminar in 2024, our goal is to do one every single week, 52 seminars in 2024.
Going on tour.
And it doesn't matter if you're not local. You've got to be in North Carolina, I feel like, but we can Zoom call.
Yeah. As long as you're in North Carolina.
If you have a team of 5 or more and you want Tiff live and in person, or one of the other attorneys, it doesn't have to be Tiff, but one of our other attorneys, we're going on tour. We're coming to visit you. We want to help educate. We want to bring you lunch. We want to bring you coffee. I'll come if you're bringing wine, and make sure that we can answer any questions you possibly have about real estate.
Well, and the fun part is after I go, then they're like, "Hey, can Ryan come back and talk to us about marketing?" So
that doesn't get asked very often.
You might get us twice.
You might get Weber bucks.
Oh gosh. Well, okay. I mean, that's probably going to get us all 52 now with the promise of Weber bucks.
So email info@thomasandweber.com if you'd like to set that up.
But yeah, that's exactly why we are doing these topics today, because they came up in a real team meeting. It's not the first time that I've been asked these things in a team meeting. So kind of background in a team meeting, I have a presentation of like the common things I'm seeing in the market right now and like mistakes that could be avoided.
Which you update as the market changes.
Update as the market changes. But then everybody can ask questions either during the presentation, especially if it's a smaller group and it's more of a dialogue, or after. I always have time for questions. And these are real questions that came up during that meeting.
And likewise with, we're joking, but yes, I do the marketing seminars. So, real estate agents that are wanting to improve their marketing in any capacity. It doesn't have to be video or podcast or whatever, social media. It's generally social media. It's the hot topic. But, if you want me to come and help shed some light on the marketing world, I would happily do it for you and your team.
Yep. So should we dive right into our first?
Into the shallow end of prenups.
Prenups. So the topic of prenups came up in this meeting, and what I'm going to get into is not necessarily the specific question that was asked, but I get this question a lot. And, people will say, oh, so-and-so's spouse doesn't have to sign. They have a prenup. I'm like, okay, we're on the right track, but what does the prenup say? They're like, well, what do you mean? What does the prenup say? It says they don't have a marital interest. Not necessarily.
Au contraire, mon frère.
Yeah, the existence of a prenup is not determinative of whether your spouse has a marital interest in a specific property.
I want to cut in Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend, right there. So
we don't normally do stuff like that.
Note to editing, not so fast, my friend.
Because it matters what the prenup says. Not every prenup is about real property. It might be about, like, I don't know, if you split up, we pay you alimony of this much, or, it talks about the division of property when you split up, but it also talks about conditions of the marriage. Like, it's way more than just real property. And it may be silent as to real property. Maybe the couple wants to own everything as tenants by the entirety. So just because they have a prenup doesn't mean they've dealt with their real property that way. Or it could be only certain pieces of property are separate. So that's why we have to see it.
Didn't you just see something similar to that where, a husband or a wife bought a house and the husband didn't have any interest in the house? Something to that effect.
Yep, because the prenup said what it needed to say, and that this particular property, when that was acquired before the marriage, he waived his right to have any marital interest. There's special language that has to be in it because this is a contract between spouses, is what a prenup is. So, to properly waive the marital interest, it has to be written a certain way, and it has to be recorded in the county where the property is located. So if you've got a juicy prenup, and you don't want the whole world able to go on the register of deeds and see what is in that juicy prenup, then ask your attorney who drafted it to prepare a memorandum of the agreement, because then that can be recorded instead of the full prenup, and it will address the proper
Just the real estate stuff.
just the real estate stuff, just whatever needs to be public record to sever the marital interest. Same thing with a postnup, which is basically prenup done after marriage, post nuptials.
Why would someone get a postnup? I know you're not family law, but I'm just curious. Like, you don't hear it as often.
From my perspective, I just see it in context of real estate.
From my perspective, I don't know. I don't do this.
Aside from just wanting to make separate property that they didn't deal with before they got married, that's all I see it for. We got some good family lawyer friends that we could call up and say, "Hey, Marin, why do people get a postnup?"
What's a postnup?
First of all, what's a postnup? Why do people get it? What's the craziest thing you've seen? I'm sure she'd have plenty of stories.
Oh, she'd love to be on here. She's a talker.
Well, she's got wild stuff.
She's got wild stories, which is why she's a talker.
Yeah, and she's funny. We should have her on.
Yeah, she'd be fun.
She'd be a good guest. So that's the thing about prenups. And I also got the question in that same meeting. This was not on our topic list today of, okay.
Hot take, bonus tips.
Well, it's not a hot take at all.
Okay, bonus tips.
Bonus tips. This particular agent was talking about a couple that was likely headed for marriage.
Oh, yeah, I laughed at this one because I was in the room and I heard this. And
I can't remember exactly how he said it, but he did say something very funny about it.
He said something like, they are buying a property and she wants to be put on it because they're dating and soon to be engaged. Like, he has a ring, so it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that means zero.
Yeah. Well, but, pretty strong indication that they're going to get engaged and married. So I mentioned, all right, even if they take title to the property together right now, that doesn't give them tenants by the entirety. So they were all like, well, what is tenants by the entirety? I'm like, okay, well, if you're unmarried, there's two ways to own property together: tenants in common and joint tenants with rights of survivorship. The rights of survivorship is kind of self-explanatory. I die, everything goes to you. Tenants in common means I die, everything goes to my heirs. Maybe my heirs are you, maybe they're other people. So you could become owners with some other people. But if you are married, you get tenants by the entirety if you want it. And it's a way that, everything that you own with your spouse as tenants by the entirety, I die, everything goes to you. But during our marriage and during the time we own the property that way, if I get a judgment against me alone, it won't attach to our tenants by the entirety property. So it's a way to try to preserve kind of like the marital estate, marital property, so that the one person's judgments don't wipe out what the marriage has made or owned, whatever you want to call it. Basically, we built this up together. Let's not let one person's judgments wipe it out. But I explained that, all right, say they take title as tenants in common or joint tenants, and then they get married after they already own the property. Well, you don't automatically get tenants by the entirety. You have to do a deed from yourself to yourselves as husband and wife or whoever and spouse, to you and your spouse to create that tenants by the entirety. So that was my bonus tip during the meeting. But then also today is that, put it on your post-marriage to-do list of, all right, we own property together already, but we don't have tenants by the entirety, so we need to get around to
which, note to self, as soon as we heard that, I'm like, I need to send that out to our entire people that closed with us this year. Like, did you get married after you bought a house? Because you probably want to do this.
We got married after you bought our first house. Mm-hmm. You never put me on the deed.
We sold it. Or no, we kept it for a while.
Yeah, but we got married, so I still had to sign when you sold it. But yeah, I didn't know this because I wasn't a lawyer. Hadn't even.
Nice. I could have ran away with that $50,000 house.
No, because I still would have had to. We got married, so I still would have had to sign for you to sell it. I would have known.
I know everything.
But yeah, that's bonus tip. What's the next thing we're talking about?
Probates.
You should find if we're going to be cutting in YouTube, you should find like a.
I mean, I say this, I'm not going to cut anything because I don't have the time to cut things in. But if there's a person out there that would love to cut together this podcast
and wants to cut in
and wants to earn Weber bucks by cutting the podcast, I will ship you some Weber bucks. you can earn a lot of Weber bucks.
I hope you at least make them have a cool design. But I was going to say, if someone wants to,
face. What's more cool than my face?
If somebody does in fact want to earn Weber bucks,
Actually, I might do Gus's face. Maybe Kennedy's face.
That would be worth it.
Because she's got some funny faces.
She
we
does,
could make
especially
into
this
Weber
one.
bucks. Yeah.
That's her new one.
Which
And
is
her
perfect perfect for Weber bucks.
Just grumpy.
Just
She gets that from
stanky
me, by the
face.
way.
I don't give a stanky face. I just constantly am stanky, so it's my normal face.
Just your normal face. So, as I was saying, if anybody wants to earn Weber bucks to cut in YouTube clips from this or whatever, I ended up on Kappa TikTok, which is
what?
Kappa. It's
Kappa. I thought you said Cabot.
fraternity.
And I'm like, isn't that like a egg?
And I just got like on the TikToks of them like strolling, which is when they like, I'm not going to describe it properly. Just Google it and you're going to get stuck on it because it's
you were
just
on
like
something with marching bands last night because I just heard marching bands over
Southern
and over.
University.
Yeah.
And I was telling you all the history behind it.
Yeah, I was just
You're
trying
like,
to watch my show.
Don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, but it's so cool. LSU and Southern, they did it
Do
together.
you think Will and Mary Thomas or Mary Taylor go over and
like listen to the band when LSU's
like,
playing away?
No, they don't. Like they're college kids. They're 8 miles is too far for them unless they're going to New Orleans.
Yeah. But I got on Kappa TikTok and, you know, when you said probates, that's like the fraternity, they're becoming members of their fraternity. So like they, you know, cross over and they stroll. That would be really great to cut in right here if somebody wants to earn some Weber bucks. But I digress.
Okay.
We are not talking about probates. We're talking about probate, which the number one question I get in seminars or in closings or from anybody. You want to guess what it is?
What's probate?
Yes. That is the number one question I get.
Good, because I had a question today, and it is, so could you explain to me what probate actually is?
Well, that was basically I was talking about probate in that meeting and someone said, so what is that? So probate is, at least in North Carolina, I'm sure in other states too, the orderly administration of a person's estate. So whether you have a will or you don't, this is the way that your estate gets administered, and there's a legal process to make sure whoever is supposed to receive distributions from your estate receives it. It's also a way to make sure anybody that you owed money to gets paid. So it's, you know, you have the notice to creditor. Well, first a personal representative gets appointed. So that could be an executor or executrix if you had a will, or an administrator if you did not have a will. That's the difference in testate with a will, intestate without a will. There's a notice to creditors that gets run so that anybody that you owed money to has a chance to notify the clerk of court and say, hey, I'm owed this much on a credit card or this much for medical bills or whatever it may be. So that all gets accounted for. There's an inventory of the estate taken, and that's to figure out, okay, what did this person have? Bank accounts, retirement accounts,
Real estate,
cars, jewelry, you know, automobile. I already said cars.
clothes.
I don't think, well, I guess that would be part
Shoes.
of anything with some value. So basically that would be everything else. A personal property would just be all.
What if they had a shoe collection?
I think,
Some of those shoes are pretty expensive.
well, I've seen like gun collections, really expensive art listed.
Trading cards.
Actually, yes.
See?
If they've got
Look at me.
significant value, yeah. And also, especially
Boats.
if they were specifically willed to a person. So you go through that whole process, and then once the final, you know, all the creditors have been paid, the final accounting is done, then the estate gets distributed. Everybody who is owed something or was given something gets that. So that's what probate is. And everybody really says like probate's a dirty word, or they're like, they'll do anything to avoid probate or just not file the estate and not open probate, but it ends up causing terrible ripple effects. In fact, I'm not going to get into it, but that is a big topic on the seminar that we're doing on December 12th. Will this come out before then?
Day before.
This will come out the day before.
This will come out on Monday, and the seminar is tomorrow.
By the time you hear this, yeah. So go sign up, even if you can't watch
link
it
in the
live.
description.
Yeah. You can watch the replay, and I'm going to be talking about a wild one where probate was never done. It is messy,
Juicy.
and it could have all been
Who
avoided
wants the tea?
with one probate. How one probate of an estate could have prevented having to track down 80-something heirs. Ooh, that's a hook. So
Look at you learning marketing.
probate is essentially just the, again, orderly administration of your
So
estate.
I have a thought here. If probate is that, do you think if a bodybuilder had an estate, we could, and maybe he owned a bunch of gyms and all that, could we call it brobate?
For you, yes. Of course we could.
Yes.
You could call it whatever you want. You're going to call it whatever you want. So,
For the
probate.
bros,
For the bros.
brobate.
So, other
I
things
like
about
when I start
probate.
things. You think we can make that like I want that to get in the dictionary, brobate, and like on the real estate exam. What's brobate? When bros have to go through probate.
It's not often I'm completely speechless, but you have stunned me to silence multiple times already.
Here we
It's only
are.
been like 15, 20 minutes. Back to probate. Another thing, people will be like, well, I have a trust, so I will avoid probate. Well, you should if you do it right. But often people will get their trust. Maybe they'll fund their trust, meaning their trust will own something at the time they get it created, but then they sell that property. They buy another property in their individual name and never put it in their trust. You only avoid probate if your trust owns everything you own. So if your trust doesn't own your house, guess what? Your house is going to go through probate to pass ownership. If your trust doesn't own your car's going through probate. So that is a common misconception, is that, oh, well, I have a trust, so nobody's going to have to do probate. That's only if you maintain the trust and your trust owns what you own. So often with a trust, you also get a will, and most practitioners call it a pour over will, meaning, all right, for everything you didn't own in your trust, we're going to put it in your trust, give it to your trust upon your death, so that then your trust can control how it's devised or how it's given out. But again, doesn't mean you're avoiding probate. You have to be very diligent about maintaining everything with your trust if you're wanting to avoid probate. Otherwise, you're still going through it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it interesting? It's not that
I
interesting.
mean, I was kind of confused.
So I'm going to talk one more thing about probate. If you're selling a property while the estate is still open, the executor has to sign along with the heirs.
I guess my question is, because I don't
Or personal
understand,
representative.
why is everybody so against probate? Why are they always trying to avoid probate? Because all it is just the execution of the will. Well, the will is what their wishes are. So why are you trying to avoid that?
Paperwork, one, but also people, I think, contesting wills or the non-existence of a will. In intestate probate, just from watching it play out in closings, I see that people have a harder time with, because there's no plan made. So whatever the North Carolina default is what's going to happen.
And then people get mad about
People
what
get
the
mad about it.
default is. Well,
Yeah.
that's
Or
just what
maybe
the laws
someone
are.
has estranged siblings that they don't feel should get anything, but by law, because it's intestate, they're entitled to it. And it's just it becomes a fight and a battle.
Moral of the story: get a will,
Get a
put
trust, get something.
put it on paper so we don't have any issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Nice morals. Story morals. You did it.
Got it.
Good job. Last part was piggybacks probably prior to the probate, which is estates, which no. So basically, in a closing,
Estates are for deceased people. So if you're living, you don't, I'm not going to get too nerdy about it. Let's just keep it real simple.
okay. So
We're talking about deceased people's stuff.
estates, realtors and closing attorneys, probably least favorite closing is estates, because it's generally more challenging.
It is.
There's more things you have to find and more hidden things, because it's harder to find because the person's not alive to ask them questions.
For a nerdy person like me, they're way more interesting. And
Interesting. Fine. Difficult, challenging.
they're more challenging, but it
hoops.
also gives you Like if you feel like your brain is turning to mush, just get an estate file and it'll wake your brain up a little bit. So at this seminar, I was talking about when an estate is open, your personal representative and all the beneficiaries and their spouses have to sign. And there was an agent who was having a closing at our office coming up, and she got this panicky look on her face and was like, we have a closing at your office next week and nobody's told us that the siblings have to sign. And for like an instant, I started to panic and think, did we miss something? And so I pull up the file, I look at it, and the will very clearly said that her client was the only beneficiary of this property, and her client was also the executor. I can't remember if her client was married or not, but they already knew that the spouse had to sign for their client. But it reminded me, oh, I said the beneficiaries, and that could maybe be confusing for some people because they'll think everybody's the beneficiary. Well, no, it's specific devises in a will. And by devise, I mean I devise to Ryan Weber my Barbie doll collection. That's a specific devise. Well, I didn't give Ava Weber, Mary Kiker, whoever. These are our family members, by the way. My
Mom's
Barbie doll collection.
Nothing. Sorry, Ma.
So only you got the Barbie doll collection.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a Barbie doll collection, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
You don't have to tell stories. You got a Barbie doll collection.
I don't.
She hides it under our bed.
Right.
When we're sitting there at night and I'm like, I wonder where Tiff is. I go into the bedroom and she's actually crawled up under the bed playing with her Barbie dolls, just bouncing around.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, kids. So that's a specific devise, and you would be the beneficiary of that devise. So in that case, the will gave that specific property to that specific person. So even though there may be other siblings or there may be charities or other people who received other things under the will, it's not every possible beneficiary. It's the beneficiary of that property. So what I really liked about that is that she was making the connection, though, of that there were other people who got things. Do we have all of our bases covered? Because usually people will think, well, just the executor has to sign. Very rarely, like less than 1% of estate closings is that true. So instead of thinking the wrong assumption, she was thinking there were more people that received under that will, maybe received other properties, maybe received personal property.
But
so
this specific property was just this one specific
So I
person.
appreciated that she was thinking in the grand scheme of things and not just, oh, well, we've got an executor and that's all that we need. So I thought that was a really good question, but it also reminded me, oh, it could be confusing when we say the heirs or the beneficiaries and their spouses have to sign, because there's a lot of heirs, but we mean the ones for the specific property that's being sold.
Yeah. Tiff, where are we at right now?
Ryan, as you know, we are at the law firm.
Oh, and what is it that we do here?
You're being kind of weird. At Thomas & Weber, we close real estate transactions. Are you trying to do an ad read right now?
I would never do that. Just hear me out, though. Like, if somebody were just wondering, like, well, why is Thomas & Weber maybe a good law firm to do real estate closing, what would you tell them?
Well, as the marketing professional for our firm, I think that I would say we are easy to do business with. We provide lots of options to communicate with us in a secure way.
Yeah.
We have some of the best paralegals in the state of North Carolina.
I mean, they're all right.
You're just saying that because they give you a hard time. Rightfully so. And considering you work with us every day, do we have enough time to go through everything?
I'd say that's good, but just hear me out. Curious. If somebody wanted to maybe close a house in North Carolina, submit their closing and possibly do that through our office, where would they send their, offer to purchase?
You're being so weird right now. You made up this email address.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty good one, quite catchy.
Thank you.
Close at thomasandweber.com.
Ooh, that is good. I forgot about that one.
Sure you did.
So just, let's just throw it all out there in case they want to make a phone call and say, I want to close at the office and I like calling and talking to somebody. What number would they dial?
Well, for the sake of this not ad read, I will share that our phone number is 704-663-1600.
Oh, interesting. I really appreciate that, Tiff. Well, you guys heard it here. Back to the podcast. Kind of another bonus, our third bonus of the.
Oh, and I don't even know about
so
this.
you know about this, and you always refuse to do it, and I'm going to make you do it.
You're going to talk about trends in the market.
I'm going to talk about this is our last podcast of the year, 2023. Yeah, 2023.
Are we taking Christmas week off? I guess.
Yeah, 2023 podcasting over. We missed, I think, 3 weeks.
In all of this year.
49 podcasts. Well, some of them we did too. So 49 weeks of podcast.
Look at that.
Look at us.
Your podcast.
Your podcast.
I got to be a guest on your podcast all 49 weeks.
I was not on my podcast for multiple weeks.
You were here for all of them, though.
I was here for all of them. Someone's got to push record.
Yeah. I don't
And
know
I have forgotten to push record a few times. So, I mean, we actually recorded 55 or 56 of them. But no, 2024. What? And I don't want to say what do we predict. We're not predicting anything.
Good, because I have zero predictions. I do not predict the future.
You do not like to predict. You don't like to go on record for anything. I don't care.
You don't care.
So I would like to say, here's what I think 2024 is going to happen based on.
Can you give your disclaimer that this is not to be relied upon? I'll do it for you.
Sure.
Nothing that we're about to say here should be relied upon. This is all speculation. This is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. This is not any kind of advice. This is Ryan talking about the thoughts in his head and me begrudgingly playing along.
Okay. So here's what I think is going to happen. That's actually a perfect statement. And so if you want to shut this off and don't care about my thoughts, hey, it was a great episode. Love talking to you. But if you want to hear what I think is going to happen in the real estate industry of 2024, this is it.
You're like, get ready because you're going to have you'll be able to give mean comments if you want to.
Heck yeah. Mean comment me all you want. Don't mean comment Tiff. She doesn't deserve that. I do.
That's really sweet of you to say that. It actually is a really nice thing of you to say.
I'm bigger than most of you, so you could mean comment me all the time. She's not bigger than you. I am. I'm not the one to mean comment, but go for it. Good luck. So already it's come out that the Fed, which, hold on, mind blown, found out that the Fed is privately owned. Did you know this?
I don't know that I've ever thought about it that much.
It's privately owned. The Fed, the Federal Reserve, is not like...
That's not a government thing?
No. And this is told by me from another business owner that is in Missouri that likes
central
pork.
Banking system of the United States.
It's privately owned is what he said. And he went down a whole rabbit hole of searching after he heard this. Like you can invest.
I don't know who told you this, but I'm curious. Is that person a conspiracy theorist by any?
No, this person really likes pork and lives in Missouri.
Got it. Okay. Not a conspiracy theorist.
No, smart business owner.
I was going to ask you for initials, but I totally got it.
You got it.
Yeah. I mean, Wikipedia is usually pretty...
And that's where he said he went. And if it's on the internet, it's true.
I don't know. Okay, anyway.
Okay,
the
moving
Fed
on.
What is the Fed doing?
The Fed has said either 5 or 6 times this upcoming 2024, they are going to lower the interest rates. We're expecting rate decreases. I think it was 6 times. It's either 5 or 6.
That's been the thing everybody's been sharing.
Yes, because realtors, you guys love to share all the same posts.
The same slide.
We have 2,000 people we follow on Instagram, and I see the same slide 2,000 times because it's all realtors.
Just go in Canva and at least
Make your own.
repackage it.
Yeah, like put your face on it or something.
Yeah. Canva's free, by the way.
Yeah, use the free version. It's good. That's what all of our stuff's made on.
Yeah.
But I pay for it. All $24 a year or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So if rates decrease, what are we going to see? Generally, we're going to see more people coming into the market. However, the rates probably will not decrease enough for the people that are 2.5 to 3.5% that are really, like buying into the interest rate thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get down to 4 where it's like, it's not crazy. I can sell my house. We're probably going to see at the absolute lowest, my guess, I don't know. I'm not an economist or anything. My guess, the lowest we'll see is 5.5.
I knew you were going to say it.
5.5, I think is the lowest it'll get. It might go lower. It might not even get to that. I think we'll see sub 6, but I don't think we'll see sub 5. Not in 2024. So based on all that, I don't think we're going to see as many buyers as we're hoping for. Or actually, we'll see buyers. I don't think we'll see sellers. The ones that
we've already got. I mean, we've had an inventory problem for quite a while, and it's not good.
And so
right now.
the 450,000 people that have viewed our reel on Facebook that have argued and said how stupid we are. First off, that will mean housing prices will continue to increase. Housing prices will not decrease if there's a shortage of supply.
Yeah, it's very simple.
It's supply and demand, guys. Like, I know, okay, maybe in 6 months they've decreased a little bit. I'm not talking about 6 months. I'm talking about
now maybe you're
term.
seeing more seller incentives than we've seen before.
Correct.
But that's not home prices.
And we're not saying and we're not seeing the prices decrease. We're seeing, hey, the people that were able to list their house for $400,000 over the asking, like the normal market rate, and just because there was nothing, people were saying yes because interest rates are at 2.5%. No, they're just, now it's at the actual home price, which the values are still high, and they're still going to go up if there's not enough inventory in the market.
Yeah, and we're also, when people are talking about housing prices going up over time, again, we're talking about over time. We're not talking about they're going to go up in 3 months or they're not going to go down in 3 months. We're talking long term.
Yeah, like years.
Yeah.
And maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, they might decline or stay the same. But like, if you look at a 10-year span or 15 or 20, like it's going to be a steady increase of 3.5%, maybe even 4%. Like 2020, I think was 12% increase of home values. So like over time, I'm not talking about a 1 to 3 month period.
Like, of course, anything is possible. So there's always a chance that, I mean, is it likely? No, but rates go to 2.5%, but also housing prices drop in 2024. I don't want to know the circumstances that would have to happen for you to have lower home prices and a 2.5% interest rate. I don't think any of us really want to have to go through whatever circumstances would have to exist to cause that. But just because something is like infinitesimally possible doesn't mean that it's likely. What is most likely is what we've seen is, okay, well, by the time the rates get lower, the housing prices have probably continued to rise. I mean, we're talking probablys here.
Yeah.
Not guaranteed. Nobody knows.
Yeah. It's predictions.
And the thing is, if everybody else knew, then they would be acting based on what knowledge they had.
Yes.
So everybody is just guessing. Even the people that are saying, well, I'm not going to buy a house until rates come down. They're guessing that the rates are going to come down. I hope they do, but we don't know. I mean, it could be 10 years before rates come down, and housing prices probably continuing to rise all 10 years.
In some capacity. And so, okay, based on all that, I think the rates could go down and will go down based on what the Fed has said. I don't think they're going to go down enough to be like meaningful for those people that are sitting on a 2 to 3.5% interest rate to really want to move, unless they've they're ready. That also means the supply is not going to be there. So we're still going to have a slow 2024 in the housing market. 2023, one of the slowest volume of house sales in the history of the U.S. 2024, I don't see much of a change, personally. I think it's going to slightly be better because of slightly better rates. That's
what we're most likely, from a closing attorney's perspective, if rates see some movement, we're going to be doing a lot more closings, but not in the way you think. It's refis. Right. We're going to be doing a lot more refinances.
Everybody that's buying a house at 7%, 6.5%, if you're buying houses at 7, as soon as you see a point drop at 6,
you're probably in line to refinance.
There's going to be a lot of refis. Like 50% of our closings are probably going to be refis.
Yeah, I mean, and we've closed them at 7.75. We've closed them at 8. We've, you know, like if we get to low 6s, we've seen a lot of closings that would want to save that money.
Yep.
And then you're going to see more equity lines as well, because some people are like, oh, I've got plenty of equity. It'd be nice to take out an equity line, but I don't want to take it out at this higher interest rate. So, you know, people that have been like, it'd be nice, but I don't need it, are more likely to go after it when the rates have dropped.
So that's my one prediction. My second prediction for real estate professionals, you know, really tough year for real estate agents, lenders, all the people in the real estate world. Tough year, volume's not there. Mm-hmm. I think in 2024, you're going to see a wider gap. So in 2023, you started seeing this gap. The people that were doing really, really well, they're still doing well. They didn't really see much of a decline. Now, they saw a percentage of decrease, but not at the same level as the people that were closer to the bottom, or maybe a hobbyist or someone that's just getting started saw a significant decrease, because your percentage, if you do 4 closings a year and lost 25% of them, you're down to 3. Like that's not. Now, if you were doing 100 a year and lost 25% of them, you're still doing 75 closings. But I think you're going to see a larger gap to start moving. You know, we're going to see less people in the middle that are in quote unquote average, you know, person in real estate. I think you're going to start seeing the cream rise to the crop. The cream rise to the crop?
Rise to the top.
To the top. Cream rise to the top.
Didn't New Heights just talk about what that meant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at me. It's, you know, I actually did this on purpose. No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
So I think you're going to start seeing the best of the best really stand out, because people are going to be able to start making better decisions or more educated decisions of who to use. It's not just going to be like, well, you know, so-and-so is my brother, I'm going to use them. They're going to be more diligent on their research because there's less happening. The people that are hobbyist, or, you know, it's their part-time gig, or, you know, they're, you know, quite honest, not good at it, you're going to start seeing them really, really feel it and decrease. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to see a larger gap in the real estate professional world. So if you're doing really good, I think it's your time to separate. I think if you're, you know, not doing so well, you either need to make a big change and figure out what you can do to stand out, or unfortunately, like, I think it's going to be a tough year for you.
Yeah. 2023 was interesting from my perspective of like the people that I think are really good at real estate that have asked, hey, do you guys have any openings? I mean, it's been like 20 something people this year alone. And we've also seen really talented real estate agents, transaction coordinators, whoever it may be, leave to go pursue other things just because of the market challenges. They're getting fatigued with the transactions this year have just been more difficult because the people that are selling are kind of in positions where they have to, facing foreclosure, or there's estates or whatever. And those are much more difficult transactions. They've been more contentious. And they're just fatigued of it. You know, you come off of a several year run of running crazy. And when you start to come off of that adrenaline rush and you get dumped into these kind of like crappy transactions where nobody's happy and everything is a fight, like, I don't blame them.
Yeah, it's not as enjoyable. Mm-mm. Do you have anything? Do you want to predict anything?
I thought I did earlier.
What? You just piggybacked my predictions?
Probably, yeah.
It's fine.
Or maybe I was ranting about.
Oh, I'm all in for a rant.
I think I was just ranting and not predicting, but I don't make predictions because I don't know what's going to happen.
That's Ryan's crystal ball. If you want to pay some Weber bucks, you can get some more crystal ball ideas.
I mean, I prepare for options. Our office is preparing for not necessarily a refi boom, but an uptick in refis. When we take the information that's out there and get ready for the contingencies, but, you know, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, guys, we really appreciate you tuning in for us for 2023. It was an experiment for us to do the real estate show. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of really, really good feedback, and
we're actually coming up on, this would be the end of the second calendar year of the real estate show. I started it as a pet project I wanted to be able to edit something, record something myself. So I started doing that right before Kennedy was born, and then had a hiatus. I did 14 or something episodes,
Something like that.
and then had a hiatus. And then when we picked back up, you took over the helm, and that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, and this year,
Because you know what you're doing, and I did not.
I think in this year we did. We generally focused on 20 to 30 minute, episodes, maybe even down to 15-minute. And I think this upcoming year we're gonna kind of retract the long form podcast a little bit. We're gonna try and do one really, really good episode, a longer form, 45 minutes to an hour, once a month. And then
TBD, but that's the plan.
That's the plan as of now. I always assess everything in the quarters, and then if we have special topics that come up throughout the month, we can obviously jump on. But the goal right now is one really big one, but we're going to get back. I don't want to say we put a pause on YouTube, but we stopped doing our specific YouTube style videos that are educational. And we just heard from agents that they really like sharing that with their clients. So we want to do stuff for agents that are helpful for their clients. And, we're always adjusting with what people are asking and telling us. And so that's kind of our adjustment coming into the next year. We're going to get back to our weekly educational YouTube videos. Obviously our shorts and Instagram reels and stuff are going to stay because they seem to get people all fired up, which I love.
I know you do. Just controversy.
Yeah.
I need to give a shout out to Julie, who shared that we were on her Spotify Wrapped for her podcast this year.
You're not going to be able to. I think it's Gavora.
I don't think that's right.
It's something.
It's ITSKOVSKA, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I was close. It's Gavorska.
There's no R in there.
It's Gavos.
Julie, I'm so sorry. We've known you so long. And Ryan
Julie used to come to my gym, so I know Julie.
I know how to spell it at least. I just don't want to disrespect her by mispronouncing
remember where
it.
she's, her where she's from.
I think Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yep.
I believe it's
but
Ukraine.
anyway, she shared her Spotify Wrapped, and we were number 5 on her top 5, and the top 4 were stacked, really big podcasts. So I was so honored. Thank you for listening, Julie. She was the first one to show it. A couple people sent me hey, you're on my Spotify Wrapped, but she shared it on social media, and I was like, this is wild.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, people, we're super transparent.
We always appreciate her support.
We're super transparent with kind of numbers and stuff like that for what we do. The podcast, if you looked at it from the beginning of the year at January, we were at 1,800 total downloads. We had 14 episodes. By doing a weekly consistent podcast, I think by the end of the year, we're doing about 500 or 600 downloads every single, we're at 700 or 800 downloads every single month.
Yeah, all of that.
You don't know any of that.
I don't know.
So,
sounds great.
Yeah, from 1,800 total to almost 800 a month is kind of interesting. It just shows you hey, if you put out content consistently,
there's Ryan's marketing message for the episode. You just put something out consistently.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else on this.
Great.
So, hey,
2023, goodbye. 2024, let's sell some houses, people.
Sell some houses.